All right, folks, back on the Bossman show, front of the show. Happy for him, Rob Lanier, the SMU Mustangs head coach on the show. Coach Lanier, how you doing, my guy? Good to talk to you again.
Yeah, doing really good, man. Doing really good.
I hear
Appreciate
that,
it.
Coach. Let me ask you, man, how's it been to be in Dallas, man, representing SMU now? What about this opportunity with the Mustangs really stuck out to you to say, hey, I want to move my family to the Metroplex now and be here going forward?
Well, as you know, I spent 6 years at University of Texas, so I had a familiarity with the state of Texas and some familiarity with the campus and relationships with guys that have been on the staff. And so I knew it was a beautiful campus and a great location and a big time job that had really, really high aspirations. And everything happened so fast, JR. I didn't really see it coming, to be honest with you. Um, but I got out here and saw it with my family, and it's just a beautiful place and an unbelievable opportunity. And it was too much to turn down for sure.
I know that. I know that's right, Coach. And I like what you did, Coach. You brought with you Cliff, Chris, Kyle, Jordan, Isaiah, and Vinny. And how important was it for you to bring your guys from Georgia State with you to SMU, let them experience this with you as well?
Yeah, you know what? I wouldn't have this opportunity if it wasn't for them. And so if I didn't think I was going to be able to bring them along, I wouldn't have taken the job. And quite honestly, I was really happy at Georgia State. I felt like we had accomplished one of our goals, and we had a lot more left to accomplish. And we were just getting started, And somebody asked me if I have any regrets. I really don't. But there is a part of me that wanted to coach the first game in the Convocation Center. And that is the one thing in the back of my mind that I think about, because it was part of the reason why I came there. I remember when I first sat with Dr. Becker and Charlie Cobb, and they laid out the plans for the arena. I was so excited about that, and they allowed me to work with them on the design of the floor, and so I felt like I was connected to that. And then Charlie sent me a picture of the floor, and I'm like, man, that's exactly how I had imagined it. And so not getting a coach on it is something that will be something that I'll miss. But when I walked into Moody Coliseum here, I can't complain, because this place is beautiful. They fill it up, and it's a great fan base here. So no complaints.
I hear that. I got it on my calendar when you play in Memphis. So I'm looking forward that day when you play in Memphis. So I'll come drive over, make that 5 hour drive over to see you. You already know I'll drive to see you, brother. You already know that I'll do that for you. You already know that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So yeah, man. How's it been me meeting the guys, man? Building a relationship that you have said you keep so key to your heart with your young men. How's it been meeting those young men and showing them who you are and the great person that you are, man?
Yeah, well, you know what? I think, like you're saying about our staff, like, all of us collectively, there's a chemistry on our staff. And I think one of the ways that we get to know one another, myself personally with the players, is through the staff, because they really have become an extension of my vision, and the relationships that I have with the staff is genuine, even the guys that we've added. And we got a great group of young people. We're really blessed to have this group of young people to work with, and couldn't be more excited about that. And we got a long way to go. We got a lot to learn and a lot of growth ahead of us. But in terms of their approach and their buy-in to this point, it's been terrific.
And for you this summer, I know you want to get guys developed with their skills. How much are you putting in for schematics right now versus just individual workouts?
You know what? I'm trying to intentionally throw a lot at them. Number one, because I do think they have the capacity to pick it up. But number two, a lot of the trial and error that you go through, I want to go through it now. But I want them to play a little bit this summer so we can get some film to watch together. So I'm throwing probably more at them than I generally would, because I want them to have a base of who we're going to be defensively, and similarly, I want them to have a base of what we will be offensively, even though some of the offensive stuff could change according to how we get to know our personnel.
No doubt. And for you, Coach, who do you see being some key guys for you, Coach Lanier, this year coming up that you already can have identified for what you've seen so far?
Well, we brought in 7 new guys. And, I love all of those guys, and they all bring something to the table. In terms of the returnees that we had, they all bring immediate value. Stefan Todorovic is a 6'7" dude, was one of the best shooters I've ever coached. And then Zach Nuttall was the Southland Conference Player of the Year in another life. And so he'll have an opportunity to return to that form that he's capable of putting on display. We got a young man by the name of Zurich Phelps, really talented guy who wasn't very productive last year, but he's going to have an opportunity to be the best version of himself. Jalen Smith, started 10 games last year, and tremendous athlete, and he's capable of being a really versatile performer for our team. And we'll ask that of him. And so in terms of the returning guys, we've got a lot of value coming back, and that's just a few of them. And then we took some 3 transfers that have been productive at the college level, very productive. Samuel Williamson averaged just below a double-double in the ACC as a sophomore. So he's a guy that we expect big things from. Ricardo Wright was a double-digit scorer, and for 2 years at Marist College. So he's a guy coming in with a knack for the ability to score. And so we look for him to bring that with him. And so, we've got some guys that have done it on the college level. And then we got some new guys who haven't been as productive, but definitely have the ability. So we're going to look to those guys. We also have a senior transfer, a grad transfer named F.A.O. Digi, who kicked our butt in the Sun Belt. He's coming from Troy. So we have firsthand knowledge of the impact that he brings to the game. And so he's on our side now. So we're really excited about him.
He's on the good guy side now. You got that right. You got that right, Coach. And for you, man, it's using the national brand. So, like the footprint of Dallas, the Metroplex, DFW, and being in the American Conference, I feel like you can get any guy you want in this national brand, beautiful campus for education, and being in Dallas, opportunity internships and networking has to feel good for a young man to come down and play for you. A guy who's been knows to stay as well. It can help them with their pro career and profession as well beyond basketball.
Well, I think I should have recorded that what you just said and just run that back here on the screen when the recruits come back. I don't have to say anything. I mean, that was pretty good, Obviously, as a staff, we all have our contacts from throughout the country. And then, it's like being in Atlanta. There's so many good players there. There's so much talent in Dallas and throughout Texas, in the Metroplex and throughout Texas. And the challenge is finding the right guys that fit who you are as a program, so that when you do get a local guy, that local guy has the optimal experience, and he takes that energy back into the community. You get a guy who everybody in the community is familiar with, and he comes into your program and doesn't have a good experience because he doesn't fit. Now that energy goes back into the community. So you have to be selective and get the right guys that are the type of student athletes that can flourish here. And so that's the challenge for us. And we're going to have our opportunity to find those guys because there's so many of them.
And folks, SMU is the only D1 school actually in Dallas. Actually in the city lives in Dallas. The rest of them are outside of Dallas. That's the only one. So SMU Dallas' team, folks, so you all know.
That's right.
See, I'm helping you out, Coach. See, I'm helping. We're gonna record that part too, Coach. Throw it out there to him, man. You gotta throw it out there to him. And so, man, just as Coach, you played the St. Bonaventure back in the 90s when I was a younger dude. So how's the game changed since you was playing then to now, in your opinion, Coach?
Well, my first year in college was 1986. That was the year that the three-point line was instituted across the board. So, and if you took a couple threes in a game, if you took 10 as a team, that was a lot, So just that alone is where the game has changed because the amount of threes that people take in a game has changed, the spacing on the floor has changed because everybody has developed the desire and need to have a 4-man and oftentimes a 5-man that can shoot threes. And when I was coming up, the bigs stayed in the post and the guards stayed on the perimeter. Every now and then you might have a big that can face up and can shoot, but it wasn't as highly coveted as it is now. And so you see more 4-out teams shooting 25, 33s than you ever would have seen. And even though Rick Pitino was the one who got ahead of it and did that, people still thought you couldn't win that way. And then once they broke through, it started to change. And then the European game had an influence and the NBA games had an influence. Mark D'Antoni's system and the way people play. And you see games in the NBA now where they'll shoot as many as 53s and nobody will bat an eye. So the game has changed in that regard. And the college game has changed because, quite frankly, the best players don't stay in college as long as they did when I was in college. So the cycle of players, the teams that are the best teams in the country, back when I was in college, you know, Patrick Ewing and Michael Jordan and Ralph Sampson, those guys were in college in their junior or senior years. There were a lot of teams that were loaded with juniors and seniors who then went on to the NBA. And now you've got the G League Ignite, Overtime Elite, and you rarely have the Zions and those peoples of the world play more than 1 year. Where back then it was common for a Zion caliber player to be a 3 or 4 year guy. So things have changed quite a bit in that regard.
No doubt. I got two more for you, Coach. Since you've been in Dallas, man, what's been your favorite food spots for you and your family, man, since you've been down there, man?
You know what? There's a place called Piggy's Pies, and I don't know if it's the best pizza in the world, but it is good people. And what happened was we were staying at a hotel across the street called the Highland Hotel. And after the press conference, my family and I went back to the hotel, changed into some comfortable clothes and walked around the corner to Piggy's Pies. And we had such a great time as a family that it became one of my favorite spots. And really because it just kind of has a soft spot. I have a soft spot for it because of that evening that I had with my family, because it was such a whirlwind. And we were walking, it was a beautiful night. It was 75 degrees and it was a nice breeze outside. And I had just taken a job at SMU and I had never seen that coming. And we were really enjoying that moment as a family. And that place, every time I go there, it represents that moment that I had with my family. And so that's my spot.
Now, last one for you, Coach. Next month, you got a birthday coming up. So what are your special plans for your birthday when you're not working so hard grinding for these Mustangs, man?
You know what, man? Since I've been in the profession, it's rare. Last year was one of the first times in COVID where I generally, over the last 30 plus years, have been on the road recruiting because my birthday generally falls during a live period. So I've rarely been able to spend that time with my family. I don't like to get a lot of gifts and that stuff, you know. I'm okay with some carrot cake and a candle or something. I'll have that. But just time with my family would be good. You know, this year it falls on a live period again, so I'll probably be traveling. But I'm okay with that. But you know, when I am at home, it'd be nice to be able to spend my birthday with the family when I can. But my job has made it tough for me to do that very often.
Coach, I'll tell you this, brother, you don't look your age, man. You don't look your age, Coach. I ain't gonna put it out there, but you don't look your age, man. I'll take it in, brother.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you, brother.
Hey, Coach, it's always been a pleasure, man. So we go back to the time with Tennessee, man. It's been always good having the show, man. I would cheer for you like heck, you already know that, man. So when you play in Memphis, I'll be there for sure. So Charlotte, yes, I know you had one more year with you all in the conference, so I'm trying to get you up there as well, buddy.
Yep. Okay, brother. See you, man.
Thanks, Coach.
Yes, sir. You got it.